Oh
and
my
we can
God,
talk
get the
about
hell out of here,
we can
dude.
talk about Rodgers.
Get the hell out of here.
Okay, what is the need to bring up the Yankees?
It's just stuff to bring up because
Are you kidding me? Come on, dude! This came out of nowhere!
not. Clemson is a top team. Don't start with that. Clemson's a top team, no doubt, 100%.
Unless they're on Saturday, then they might move down.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We are on episode 66 right now. Thank you guys for all the continued support through our first 65. And if you are new here, please hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all that good stuff. We really appreciate any support we get. We are almost to 500 follows on Instagram. I think we're only 4 away now. So please follow us, subscribe, all that good stuff. But anyways, let's get right into the GOAT of the number 66. I will start with you, Matthew Kane. Who is your GOAT of the number for 66?
Man, I think this is the first time you guys have used my full name on air, but this is an easy one. It's Mario Lemieux. This is a long list. He's a Hall of Famer, two-time Stanley Cup winner, 9-time All-Star, 3-time Hart Trophy winner. I could keep going on and on. 2-time Conn Smythe winner. He had an incredible career with the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's, in my opinion, one of the best hockey players. He ranks 8th in the most in points all time. And if we're talking about points per game, because unfortunately he didn't play as long as many of the other great hockey players. I think, unfortunately, because of leukemia. Is that right, Mike? Or is it
I'm not exactly sure. I think he might be on the. He might be right there. I'm not sure.
I'm blanking on it, but he unfortunately had his career cut short, but he still is second in NHL all-time points per game with 1.883, and he's up there with Wayne Gretzky, who's out number 1. So I have to go with Mario Lemieux, one of the best hockey players to ever play, and just had a great career with the Pittsburgh Penguins.
I just looked it up right now, and he was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in '93. So that definitely put a little halt to the fantastic career he was having. But anyways, Thomas Mumau. I'm continuing the full name trend. Who do you got here?
Well, Michael Boetti, I got to go with Mario Lemieux. I think that's the obvious pick here today. And you gave all the stats, Matt. He had a great career, Hall of Fame career with Pittsburgh, right? So great career for him. And, you gave all the stats, but yeah, it's Mario Lemieux today.
Connor Wood, what about you?
So anyone who's watching knows I'm not the biggest hockey fan, so I'm not going with Mario Lemieux here. I'm going to go with Ray Nitschke. I believe I said that right. He was a Hall of Fame linebacker for the Green Bay Packers during their prime of their franchise history. He was a Hall of Famer, as I said. He was in a Pro Bowl. He was an 11-time All-Pro, 2-time Super Bowl champ, 5-time NFL champ, and then he's a part of the Hall of Fame 1960s team. He has 25 career interceptions, 23 career fumble recoveries, and 2 defensive touchdowns. And also, he played in the era of the game where sacks were not recorded. So I don't have any sack numbers, but you would anticipate him being a linebacker in the NFL that his sack numbers are somewhat up there as well. I don't have a definitive number there though because there weren't stats recorded, but it's going to be Ray Nitschke here for me.
That's absolutely ludicrous in my opinion. I get you're not a hockey guy. I don't think Tommy heard about what hockey was until we started this podcast, but he still went with Mario Lemieux, right? This is absolutely ludicrous for you not to go Mario Lemieux here.
It's absolutely ludicrous. You just called out Tommy.
I know. What was that?
I'm joking, okay? It's a hyperbole, but you understand my point, right? Mario Lemieux is a top 3 hockey player of all time. No offense to Matt and the Packers and Ray Nitschke, whoever that guy is, right?
I didn't even say it. I went with Mario myself. Like that.
No. I'm just saying no offense to the Packers organization. Maybe some offense to Connor. But the fact of the matter is that Mario Lemieux is no doubt the choice here. Even after he got diagnosed with a Hodgkin's lymphoma in '93, he still went on to have a 160-point season, 161-point season, 122-point season. And his 161-point season in '96 was in 70 games. That's over 2 points a game. His resume is untouchable. His resume is godlike, I'd say. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous how impressive he was as a hockey player. And then he continues his legacy through the Mario Lemieux Foundation, who funds medical research for projects for Hodgkin's lymphoma. So we always talk about what they do on the field, well, in this case on the ice, and off the ice. Mario Lemieux is up there, with some of the most impactful athletes across all generation of sports. So it's undoubtedly Mario Lemieux here. Sorry, I just had to go off on a little tangent there because it's boggling, it's mind-boggling that Mario Lemieux is not the pick here for anyone.
I can't argue against you guys. I mean, you guys made a great campaign. You guys definitely pitched. I went right niche here. I'm not a hockey guy, so I went with what I knew. Obviously, Mario Lemieux, he was an all-time great on the ice, and definitely you guys made that known.
He was born on my birthday, so I mean, we share the same birthday. I feel like that's a little special. Yeah, he's the guy number 66. Ray was great. He played for the greatest franchise in NFL history, but you definitely dropped the ball here, Connor.
And don't forget Yasiel Puig either.
No, stop. Mute him out. No, we do have a great episode. Tommy mentions baseball. There was huge news in the MLB Thursday afternoon, so we're definitely going to cover that. It does involve Mike's New York Mets and Tommy's fanatic over Steve Cohen. So we'll get back to that next.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Goat Chat. We're going to be talking about baseball right now. It's one of the first times that we've talked about baseball since the season's ended, so I'm very excited about that. We have a big trade. But first, we would like to mention Tommy Lasorda, the Dodger great manager, passed away on Friday. Very sad. So we want to send our condolences to his family. And, he had a great career. And then the main topic today is we're going to talk about the Mets acquiring Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco, a huge blockbuster trade. Steve Cohen, Mike's favorite person on the planet, he made that big trade there. And I'll start with you first, Mike. What was your reaction to the big news?
Well, I was at work when this happened, so I didn't really check my phone up until like an hour to 2 hours after the deal actually went down. I go to my text messages. I just see texts from everyone like, Jesus Christ, what the heck happened? And I see Francisco Lindor to the Mets, along with Carlos Carrasco. I mean, this is absolutely a huge trade, blockbuster move by Steve Cohen. As us Mets fans, we've kind of been wondering, what's going on with Springer? What's going on with Bauer? Yeah, we got McCann. That's great. But we still have plenty of holes to fill. And he kind of filled two major holes for the Mets. Over the past couple of years, the Mets really have not been good at shortstop, although they gave up Ahmed Rosario and Andres Jimenez. They both have a lot of potential and a lot of promise, but they really haven't been good, especially at the plate and defensively. Over the past 3 seasons, the Mets shortstops have 31 home runs and a 702 OPS, while Lindor over the past 3 seasons has 78 home runs and an 845 OPS. Absolutely outstanding. And you bring like a platinum glove level defense at shortstop, which the Mets have been lacking ever since Jose Reyes. So this was absolutely huge move to the Mets, and they cut another hole, right, with putting Carrasco in that 2 to 4 spot in the rotation. He was really good last year coming off leukemia, throwing a 2.91 ERA and throwing more strikeouts than innings pitched. So he's absolutely fantastic, and they really didn't give up too much. Sure, the Indians got solid haul back, but I thought that package was enough just for Lindor. He's a top 10 player in the MLB, probably the best shortstop. If you want to argue with me, sure, I'll cut it down to top 15 player and second best shortstop behind like Tatis or Story or something like that. But the fact of the matter is the Mets got their face of the franchise, and they got another great pitcher that they could throw it in playoff games this year. So absolutely fantastic move by the Mets. I can't wait for this upcoming season. I'm sure they're not done, and just fantastic move overall.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you, Mike. Connor, what do you think?
So yeah, everything that the Mets did and what the Mets got is all great. But I think the bigger part of this is what was Cleveland thinking? and not necessarily that you're getting rid of Francisco Lindor's big contract, because that was definitely a big negotiation over the past several seasons of him with the contract disputes with Cleveland and everything. But when we look at the Cleveland fan base, I mean, they've always rallied around Francisco Lindor. You're taking a player who's in his prime, and you're going to trade him, and then you're also going to add to that trade Carlos Carrasco, who the entire city of Cleveland really rallied around when he was out battling cancer. And when he comes back, the entire city is unified, and they're all about Cleveland Indians baseball because he's back on the field and he completed his journey. And there was this huge thing all around Cleveland, and now for both of those players to be dished out, yeah, the Mets and Steve Cohen, he came in and he made a great deal for the Mets organization and has set them up great for the future. But what Cleveland's doing, yeah, they got prospects. Maybe those prospects will line up. They got Ahmed Rosario, who's a solid shortstop in the MLB. But when you're taking these two players who are really faces of the Cleveland Indians and someone who you can rally around and their prime shortstop, it's a little bit of a concern about what's really going on in Cleveland. Are they in that complete overhaul, we're resetting from the beginning type phase? What are they going to do to get fans back in the stands once that's a capability or allowed due to the COVID restrictions? But how are they going to get those fans back in? Because you know that people are going to be really disappointed with management and with the organization because of this move. So yeah, the Mets made a great move, but I think the bigger part of this is what was Cleveland thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean, Connor, but this is something that's been brewing for a little while now. I think just because, they have been listening to trade offers over the past couple of years for Lindor, because obviously he's one of the most dynamic players in the game. You can get a lot back for him, and he only has one more year left on the deal. So I think that their mindset was that we can get some good prospects back, and we're only losing Lindor for a season. So I think it's worth it from that perspective because Cleveland's not going to win anything this year. And but I understand what you're saying. I think it's kind of similar to the Mookie Betts trade where they trade away their face of the franchise. And it's a little different because Lindor, he is the face. In Boston, you can argue you have Chris Sale, you have Bogarts, you have Devers, JD Martinez. So it is a little different, but I think they are going to change a lot of things in that organization. They've traded Kluber, I forget how many years ago that was, but they're trading away some of their bigger players. And I think they are going to, do a complete overhaul with the team. And, it's disappointing, you're right, because the fans love Francisco and Carlos there, obviously. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I think that they recognize that they weren't going to win right now and they wanted to get something back. But Matt, what do you think about all this?
I'm just going to start. Francisco, that's really fun to say.
Francisco, that's fun to say.
Francisco. Anyways, that was a little pun from Elf. If anyone's watched that movie or loved that movie, but no, I have to agree with you, Tommy. I think getting rid of Francisco was right for Cleveland. It's something to get back for him because if you're gonna lose him, might as well. I know it's like it's awful for like fans and stuff, but it's a business. So if you're gonna lose him eventually, because like you said, his contract was expiring, then might as well trade him, see what you could get back, especially for a guy like that. Both those two guys were actually on my fantasy baseball team, and probably it's one of the reasons why I won fantasy baseball and why I was so good. So I'm really happy for them to be heading over to the Mets. Obviously, that's a huge trade for the Mets. The Mets really won that, and Lindor's not as good as the GOAT Trey Turner at shortstop, but still, it's a good pickup for the Mets. And I know that Steve Cohen coming in, Tommy, you love him, but Steve Cohen, this is the first thing that he's done, and it was really a hit. It wasn't a miss. It was a good trade for them. I'm not a huge baseball guy, but even I know that it was a huge trade for them getting a player like Lindor and also a pitcher like Carlos too.
I want to say that I talked about the Indians a lot in my statement there, but I also do want to say that the Mets have been a team that have been so close the past couple of years. I mean, in the 60-game season, they were in a division race and they were in a wild card race, really right up until the end of the season. Then even before that, they've been close with Pete Alonso during his rookie season when he had a great year. And when the Mets hired, or when Steve Cohen bought the Mets, I was a little skeptical because I wasn't super familiar with Steve Cohen. I didn't know what he was going to do. I didn't know how successful it was, but I mean, the Mets fan base seemed super over the moon about having him. And I was just like, I just slow the roll here. But I mean, we saw James McCann go there. Now we have Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco there. I mean, there's still deals out for Trevor Bauer and George Springer. And I mean, Steve Cohen is very quickly turning this Mets team into pretenders, from pretenders into contenders. And I mean, they're definitely going to be a team to watch out for, not only in the National League, but potentially in the MLB.
I mean,
Yeah,
you think about how sorry, Tommy, I cut you off, but you think
No,
about how
you
great
can
it
go.
is for the sport of baseball too. I mean, the Subway Series is now going to be a really good game between the Yankees and the Mets, given that the Mets are actually playing as good as they will. I just think it does so much for the game of baseball, bringing the Mets, if they get back up. I'm not gonna speak too early, but it's great for the game of baseball, especially the Subway Series, which I know is really important to all three of you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Another thing, what, Tommy, you go ahead. You've been cut off twice.
No, you're good. You can go.
Another big thing that I do want to mention, though, is there's all these great names in the Mets organization now, and that is fantastic. But we've seen it with the Yankees these past couple seasons, where they have Stanton and Judge and Sanchez and Torres and even LeMahieu these last 2 years, where there's these such high hopes, and then it's either an AL championship loss or an AL divisional series loss, where it could easily be the same thing with the Mets. So Francisco Lindor is great. Pete Alonso is a great first baseman. James McCann is going to be a viable catcher throughout a season. But if all these players can't play consistently well, and these pitchers who they have in Carlos Carrasco now and Noah Syndergaard coming back can't be at the top of their game, and you had Jake DeGrom, who's now a 3-time Cy Young winner, I think. You had 2-time. He lost this year, right? Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
To Trevor Bauer. But when you put all these people together, I mean, they still have to play well to be at the top of the MLB. So yeah, it's a great team that's put together, definitely on paper. But once they get out in the field, you just got to hope that those names on paper escalate to play.
Absolutely. And, this is a really complete team. You take a look at the rotation. You brought up DeGrom. When Syndergaard comes back off of injury, you have Marcus Stroman, Carlos Carrasco. So that rotation it's outstanding already. They're talking about Trevor Bauer. I don't know if that would end up happening, but imagine that. George Springer into that outfield. And I don't think that this is the last move that's going to be made for the Mets. I heard Chris Bryant being talked about today, a potential trade, which, I mean, that would just be incredible. So the Mets, they're in great shape. You mentioned the Subway Series, Matt. I think it's great for the sport of baseball. I don't know if Connor would agree with me, but I think it's great for New York to have that rivalry really going against. It's been a long time since the Mets and the Yankees were competitive at the same time. You think about 2015, the Yankees were good. They made the wild card, but the Mets were much better in the World Series. And then, most years the Yankees are better than the Mets. Sorry about that, Mike. But, I think it's great for baseball. I think that Steve Cohen is giving Mets fans something to be excited about. And this isn't going to be the last that we're going to hear, from the Mets this offseason.
Look, Tommy, I love a good series. I love two good New York teams. But when it comes to a Yankee team, I always, these past couple years, I loved the easy wins down over in Queens and when they visited the Bronx. So, I mean, yeah, it's going to be a great series. It's definitely going to be fun to watch. I actually think they're playing each other this year on the 20th memorial of 9/11 in Yankee Stadium, which is going to be an historic, great event, and hopefully fans can be there to witness that. But, I mean, Yankees beating the Mets is always going to come first to me. I don't care about a good series when it comes.
Well, I agree. We want to sweep, Connor, but still, if you got two of the best teams in baseball going against each other, I like the nail biters. I like the games that go extra innings and you got some walk-offs. That's what I like. I don't
And then
need
Chapman throws a curveball down the middle, and it
No,
gets out of
no,
the park again.
Tommy,
no.
set yourself up for that one.
I
Hey,
did
as,
some
as long as Steve Cohen's winning, Tommy's happy.
No, that's not true. I'm not a Mets fan. I want to clear this up right now.
He's
I'm
just
glad
a
that,
Steve Cohen fan.
well, I am a fan of Steve Cohen because I think he's good for New York. I think he's good for the Mets and um, you know, oh, is that the third time I've said Steve Cohen? But I think that he will help the Mets over the next few years for sure. And he's a fan. He wants to win. Not that, other owners don't want to win, but he's very invested and this first trade shows it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Tommy, I completely agree with you on the fact that, Steve Cohen has come in and it's really been a complete culture change from top to bottom. And for like that culture change to happen, the Wilpons need to go and they need to get new management in place, which is what they've done. They've shown that they want to win. They've shown that they're willing to invest in order to win. And that's what this move shows. And I agree that this isn't going to be the last move that they make. They could still use a lefty in the bullpen, even though they just did sign Trevor May, who's a right-handed pitcher, a really nice piece to add to that bullpen. But they still need a center fielder. They still have a massive gap there defensively. Their lineup is absolutely phenomenal from top to bottom. There are absolutely no holes in it. Like whichever way you want to pick it apart, their lineup is fantastic. But they still have that hole in center field. And if Brandon Nimmo is going to have to play center field, that means probably Dom Smith is going to have to play left field. And he's really more of a first baseman / DH. So if the DH isn't back for the NL, which would just be completely idiotic for the MLB's purposes, the Mets might, lose some value in their players defensively. But I feel like Trevor Bauer is completely out of the picture at this point because their rotation is filled out, right? And I don't really know if they're going to still go after Springer, just given the fact that they are only 24 million under the cap, under the luxury tax cap right now. They still have to sign Noah Syndergaard and Michael Conforto, and they're eventually going to have to sign Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor to a massive extension, right? And just if the Mets don't sign Lindor to an extension, that just kind of completely blows up this trade. I mean, I think they will, given they gave up both their promising young shortstops, but they have to sign them to an extension. Just make that known now. But they still have a lot of gaps defensively in their outfield.
So now here's my biggest question: is one of the biggest free agents still out there? And I mean, a lot of the free agents are still out there, but is former Yankee DJ LeMahieu potentially still Yankee DJ LeMahieu? And I mean, the Yankees and the Mets names have been all around DJ throughout the entire free agency, with Lindor now becoming a Met and them now being with just 24 million under that luxury tax. Do the Mets still make a move for DJ?
No way.
No, I don't think so. But I think that if Steve Cohen wants him,
That's the fifth one. He has said Steve Cohen's name 5 times in this segment as I called. Go ahead, Tommy.
That's right. Well, I think that if he wants him, he's a Met like 100%. I think that would be done, and I feel like it would have been done by now. Maybe not, but I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day, he is going to be a Yankee. I'm a little concerned because we're 6 weeks away from spring training and no agreement has been made. I don't know. I don't see him going to the Mets, but if Steve Cohen was like, you know what, let's make another big splash and get him, I think that's done. I think that he would throw everything at him to try to get him to come over to Queens, and I certainly hope that doesn't happen. But at the end of the day, I think he'll be with the Yankees.
As great go ahead, Matt.
I was just gonna say Tommy likes those nail biters, so DJ's doing the right thing for you.
I like it in the game, but I like the close games. But no, we don't need to be waiting until like February to sign DJ LeMahieu. He's been one of the most reliable players that the Yankees have had in the past decade. I mean, you see what he's able to do on a day-to-day basis. Now I want to ramble on about DJ because that's not what the segment's about. But it's a no-brainer because See, from a Yankees perspective, this trade with Lindor, the Yankees were talking about, a trade for Lindor being the plan B. And now I think you have to sign him 100% because if you don't sign him, then you would have to go out, get a shortstop, and move Gleyber Torres over to second base. And who are you going to get? You could bring back Didi Gregorius, who, I think that is a really good move. But I don't know. At the same time, DJ is much more reliable than Didi, even though Didi's one of my favorites for sure. But I don't know. What do you think about it, Connor? I think you need to re-sign DJ, but I don't know. I don't feel as great about the team if he's not back, considering that Lindor isn't an option anymore.
Yeah, I mean, quickly just to put things into perspective, is 2 years ago when the Yankees signed DJ LeMahieu, it was one of those smaller deals in free agency that they were like, oh, okay, they have a backup second baseman that they can plug and play when they need to from Colorado, who was over there, and then he comes in and was that when Troy Tulowitzki was on the team and Troy Tulo got hurt like the first game, he broke his ankle or something, and then DJ came in and DJ just lit it up. And he's played incredibly well for 2 straight seasons in the Yankees organization. He's been one of the most consistent hitters all throughout the MLB. And now his name went from some small deal that slid to the Yankees. So now he's one of the biggest free agent people still out there. And I mean, that just shows a lot about what the sport of baseball can do. Is a change of scenery can do a lot. And I mean, maybe that is what happens with Francisco, is a change of scenery is going to make him even a better player than he was in Cleveland, which would be absolutely fantastic for the Mets. But no, DJ LeMahieu definitely 100% has to be signed by the Yankees, or else this offseason for them it's a fail. There have been no big moves for the Yankees, and yeah, they don't have a lot of money because they went out last year and got Garrett Cole, and they still have Stanton's huge contract. But I mean, DJ LeMahieu, he's a must-need if the Yankees want to succeed and get farther than the AL divisional playoff round next year and for years going on.
Yeah. You go, Mike.
No, I was just gonna say, if the Mets do go out and get DJ LeMahieu for whatever reason, it's gonna be a massive contract over 5 to 7 years, and it would just be dumb for them because they have Jeff McNeil at second, they have JD Davis at third, they have Pete Alonso and Dom Smith at first, so he wouldn't even fit in their team. So, and the Yankees, they have no other options. No one is nearly as good or as reliable as DJ LeMahieu in the market. No one's going to provide as much valuable. He's pretty much been their only really good, healthy batter over the past 2 years. So it's a no doubt in my mind. You just spend the money and forget about it. He's one of the best players in baseball.
I will say, though, I would always love to see Didi Gregorius back in the pinstripes. I am a huge fan of Didi, and so is my little brother Tyler. So having him back in pinstripes would be huge. I would love to see it.
Yeah. I remember your face when I drafted him on fantasy baseball.
Yeah, I wasn't happy. And then he went on to start the season. He had like 5 home runs in 4 games.
I just know how to draft, but that's beyond the topic here.
You traded him to me immediately after the draft.
Yeah, but I got like Bryce Harper within the trade. But anyway, any final thoughts that you guys have?
Talking about baseball has made me excited. I am ready to go.
I'm good. We should talk about baseball every week. This was a great segment. I think
we should have a weekly Steve Cohen segment. What do you say, Tommy?
Good. Where in the world is Steve Cohen?
No.
All right. Tommy, do you have a last message to send to DJ LeMahieu to convince him back to the Yankees? If we sent this to DJ right now, what would you say?
I don't think there's much that has to be said. DJ, the Yankees want you back. The fans want you back. And he is going to be back, in my opinion. I think 100% he wants to be back. And he'll be back in pinstripes by spring training.
Awesome. You heard it here first. We're going to send that over to DJ LeMahieu right away. But any last thoughts? I know I said that before. All right. We're going to finish this episode with GOAT picks, and then you guys will be on your way. Welcome back to GOAT Chat. We got the GOAT picks coming up. Leaderboard is up right now. Tommy still is tied. Still technically has the lead with Connor, and me and Mike are in, I don't know, you call it second, fourth at that point? I don't know. We're both tied. We're both tied at the bottom, but we got 3 NFL Sunday slate games, and then we got the big showdown on Monday night. We'll start with the 3 NFL games. We picked them already last episode, so if you haven't seen that, go check that out. So this can be rather quick. Tommy, who are you going to go with? The first game is Ravens and Titans.
I have to go with the Titans here. I just think that they're the more complete team this year, so I got to go with Tennessee.
Connor.
Yeah, I trust the Titans team more than I trust the Baltimore Ravens team, so I'm going to go with the Titans as well.
Mike.
I disagree with them. I'm going with the Ravens. I just think they're a more complete team. They actually have a defense.
I'm going to go with the Ravens too. So I said what I said last episode, so if you want to go check that out, go check it out. Next game, we got Bears Saints on Nickelodeon. Way to force kids to watch Bears games. Tommy, who are you going to go with that game?
I have to go with the Saints here. I don't even think it's going to be that close of a game, honestly. The Bears have lost 6 straight games against New Orleans, and, it's going to keep going. It's going to be 7 straight here, so I got to go with the Saints.
Connor?
Yeah, it's got to be the Saints. This one's a pretty easy pick.
Mike.
Though the Bears could surprise people. Sorry.
Mike?
It's going to be the Saints.
Yeah, it's going to be the Saints. I'm hoping for the Bears, but I think the Saints are going to win. Last game we got, Sunday Night Football, Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Browns. Tommy, you're a Steelers fan? Gonna go with them?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I got to roll with the Steelers here 100%. It's not even well, no, that's not true. I don't want to, diminish the season that Cleveland had, but it's got to be the Steelers here for sure.
Connor, I hear some switching is in the books right here.
Yeah, last episode I said that the Browns are going to win it. I am going to have to rescind that statement and go with Pittsburgh here. And that's simply just because Cleveland has just had way too many COVID issues running through their locker room the past several weeks, and without a head coach and now an assistant coach and your starting left tackle and a lot of other personnel on your team, it's going to be really tough to win a football game, let alone a playoff football game in opposing territory. So I have to go with Pittsburgh here.
Connor's been watching too many TikToks of Juju and Chase Claypool, but Mike, who are you going to go with?
I'm going to go with the Steelers here. I didn't think that the Browns stood much of a chance at the beginning of the week, and really nothing has changed since then.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the Steelers too. I'm going to say it again. Connor might get mad at me, but the Browns almost lost to the JV Steelers team last Sunday, or whatever you want to call it.
The 1.5 stringers.
1.5 stringers, there we go. But I think the Steelers are going to win this game, and they're going to be dancing midfield and taking some TikToks after the game. And the last game we got, this is going to be a big showdown Monday night. We got the Alabama Crimson Tide, Heisman winner Devonta Smith, Mac Jones going up against Justin Fields' Ohio State Buckeyes. Tommy, who are you going to go with? I'm trying to make this very suspenseful.
Yeah, this is a big one. I have to go with Alabama. I think that they're 100% the best team in college football. I think that Ohio State, they were outstanding against Clemson, but I don't know. I honestly think it could be close, but I think Alabama is going to come out on top.
Connor.
As hard as I'm going to be rooting for Ohio State on Monday night to win the college football championship, I can't pick no picks. I have to go Alabama here. Alabama's the better team. They're the best team in college football. As much as I want Ohio State to win and as much as I want to pick Ohio State here, I have to go with Alabama. Also, because
just take Ohio State. We know you want to take it. Just take it.
Jalen Waddle's supposed to be backing on the field. So, I mean,
are you serious?
Yeah. He's supposed to be playing. So that just adds another level to Alabama. So Alabama's going to win this game. But Ohio State, we're rooting for you hard over here in Connor's box.
You're kidding.
Wait, hold on. Jalen Waddle, he's back at practice, but his status for the title game is unclear.
He's playing. He has made it clear that he's playing.
Oh my gosh, that just made it more fun to watch. Oh my god, that's so exciting. You sure you don't want to pick Ohio State? We'll let you.
Come on, Connor, just do it.
Come on, Connor.
Connor, do it.
Connor, I got Mike.
You destroyed Clemson. You proved all of us wrong. Do it again.
I'm going to cheer for Ohio State from my couch, but on the Goat Chat graphic, it's going to say that I picked Alabama to win.
Connor, listen.
You got to be a loyal fan,
Gotta
Connor.
be loyal.
Tommy, how many times did you pick against the Yankees? I don't want to hear that.
This isn't the World Series.
What?
This isn't the World Series.
The Yankees weren't in the World Series for him to pick them again.
Exactly. This is the national championship game. You gotta pick your team, man.
You guys just want me to pick them so you guys can get a game.
Of course, but that's not the
Connor.
point.
Listen, Connor, you are superior to all of us. You are the smartest one on here. Ohio
Thank
State.
you. I am aware. Now, Mike, give us your pick.
No, you got to pick Ohio State. We'll sit here till you pick Ohio State.
And I have all night.
All right.
Okay, can I talk more about Steve Cohen or no?
I'm down for that.
Tommy,
No,
or
I'm
Mike, give us
All
your
right,
pick.
yeah, I'm going Alabama. I'm actually pretty disappointed that Connor didn't go OSU, especially after they tore Clemson apart. Justin Fields had his best game of his whole career against a Dabo Swinney team that talked all that smack about them, and they just came out and proved all the critics wrong. They won by 3+ touchdowns. It was an absolutely phenomenal game by OSU, and I feel like they could put up a fight against Alabama, but I'm not going to bet on that, especially when their own fans won't.
Yeah, yeah, it's such a shame what Connors came to. But Mike said it best earlier in the year when we were picking Alabama. I want to say it was Alabama, Georgia, and Mike said you can't bet against Alabama. I'm not betting against Alabama. Alabama is one of my favorite teams to watch this year. I literally cannot tell you how great this offense is. You got Mac Jones, Najee Harris. I hear Jalen Waddle's back, Devonta Smith. Oh my God, it's. I might buy a jersey. Maybe I should buy one of their jerseys. You guys can choose Najee Harris, Devonta Smith, or Mac Jones, because this is a phenomenal offense. It's reminding me a lot of LSU, and I really love that LSU offense. I can go on and on about this team, but roll Tide, baby, roll Tide. Ohio State, no chance. They're so overrated. They're trash. They're going to be in that trash bag right after the game, and Justin Fields is going to be sitting as a bust, just like Dwayne Haskins.
Can I just say that everyone on this podcast here has picked against their favorite team? Look, I am rooting hard for the Buckeyes. I want them to win this championship.
I don't think Matt's picked against the Packers.
Technically,
technically, he did. He did pick against the Packers.
Technically,
and then he changed his pick because of weather.
Yeah, and what happened? Are you kidding? The frozen tundra. Nobody's winning at the frozen tundra in Lambeau Field.
He did.
Tony Romo should have. 2014. Dez caught it. Dez caught that pass. They should be moving on to Seattle. I don't want to hear this junk about no one wins in the frozen tundra. It should have been Tony Romo in that 2014 Cowboys team.
You do realize that the Cowboys would have gave Aaron Rodgers like 2 minutes and 30 seconds or something like that to score a touchdown. Like, I can't stand like how you guys are like complaining about this call. Like, okay, it probably should have been a catch, but still we would have had time. You can't tell what would happen going down.
Okay, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that everyone has picked against their team in some capacity.
Can I just get I've never because we also didn't have an episode, so there's no proof that I picked Tennessee. There's no proof that I said it like on air.
Graphic on our
graphic.
Yeah, but I don't make the graphics, and Connor could just be lying. And that's
we could go back to the text in our group chat. Like, it's not hard.
Like,
yeah,
you can see that I changed my mind before the game because I saw the weather.
Look,
it's just technically I've never picked against.
Here's the biggest thing, okay? I am talking to all of my Goat Chat fans out there, everyone that's watching the episode. I'm an Ohio State fan. Yes, we have fans, Matt. Believe me.
No, you have fans.
Yes, I do. You call me the smartest one on here, and I am aware of that. So
yeah, you're not anymore because you didn't go to Ohio State.
I'm talking to my fans who also helped me win Goat of the Week this week. Little early disclaimer there, Justin Fields did win. But I'm talking to my fans. I am an Ohio State fan through and through, and I'm going to be cheering for them on Monday night. But I am also a champion of GOAT picks, and I'm a champion for a reason. So that's why I had to go with Alabama here.
All right, we got it. Connor pretty much summed it up here. He's a fake OSU fan. Thank you for another great episode of Go Chat, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram. I just checked again. We are 2 followers away. Please, please, please follow us. We want to hit that half K mark. Hopefully by the end of January. We'll see you next time.
Roll Tide!